Normies at my school are starting to find out about Looksmaxxing. It's definitely becoming something that's more prevalent, and I just kind of wanted to make a video talking about it because, it's something I find interesting. Something I find telling, about the world we live in, right? How popular Looksmaxxing really is. It's kind of becoming like a trend among the general population. So the earliest memory I have of like a person at my school, besides myself, talking about Looksmaxxing is probably last year. So that was 2024. Probably May or June, maybe March 2024, during nearing the end of the school year. And I remember I was in the library sitting at a table. And in the library at my school, there are different like areas, but I was sitting in an area with a bunch of tables and they all have chairs around them. I was sitting alone at my table like a true cell. And there was a group of people who were in my grade who were juniors, because I was a junior at the time, sitting at another table next to me. And I remember, I was just hearing them talk, right? And there's this kid in the group who, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to call him, what should I call him? I'm trying to think of a good name. Let's just call him Sergey. I think he's Eastern European. If I could describe him, he's about my height. He has blonde hair, like really, really light blonde hair and blue eyes. Pale skin. He's kind of bulky, but he didn't used to be. He used to be like way shorter, and then the summer after sophomore year, he just fucking grew. It was weird. I don't know if it was the summer after sophomore year, but he like we went away one summer and we came back and this kid just grew. Like he got big over one of the summers. I don't know if it was the summer after sophomore year or summer after freshman year. But basically that's what he looks like. He kind of, before he grew, he kind of looked a little bit like the femboy Wojak. Like the black hair. He's got like the messy black hair, the Wojak. I'll put a picture on screen right now. Yeah. And so I remember he was in this group and they're talking, and like slowly I start to like overhear, like over time I start to eavesdrop on what's going on, right? And I remember like he said something, I don't remember specifically what, but I remember he started talking about I think what he was talking about was how he kind of wanted to look like Dolph Lundgren. He was like describing them. He didn't know the name. And then somebody said it, or he like finally remembered it. And I remember I just look over at him. Like I hear it. Like I instantly just eyes dart. Okay. The eyes just had to go darting. And he just looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, this kid knows what I'm talking about." And so like at that point I was thinking in my head, like, what does this guy know? Like what the fuck is going on, right? But I didn't think much of it. There were a couple other interactions that year, like around that time, like two that I don't remember very well, but they were a little weird too. But, nothing crazy. Cut to this year, I come back to school, and this motherfucker, Sergey, like, this kid, the first interaction, the best way I can summarize it is the first interaction I had that I can remember with him was I remember we were waiting to leave a classroom and he was like standing by the door, and this kid turns to me and goes, "Yo, is my maxilla recessed?" I'm thinking like, what the fuck, dude? Like, right? And like I've been having more and more of these interactions where like he'll be like, "Is my maxilla recessed?" He has a friend or an acquaintance. I don't know like how close they're together. I'm gonna call this kid Rodriguez. Rodriguez has a like a Hispanic name, but he looks white, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't look white to you guys. He has like pale skin, he looks white. Rodriguez is like 6'1", 6'2", so he's actually kind of tall. In my opinion, Rodriguez is a Chad light. Sergey's like high tier normie at best. which is something that we'll come back to later. But, you know, I always thought of Rodriguez as like kind of a Chad light, you know. I feel like the Looksmaxxers, the actual Looksmaxxers, the black pillars would not agree. They'd be like, unless he looks like Henry Cavill, Henry Cavill's like a high tier normie, bro. I feel like they underrate. I might be overrating him, but like I think the height carries him to at least high tier normie. He has like a more softer and less masculine face. He's like skinnier than Sergey, right? But yeah. And I remember like I was in gym class. This is another, story. And like Sergey, like he turns to me, he points to Rodriguez, he goes, "Yo, what's up with this kid's FWHR?" I'm thinking like, oh my God, bro. Cause, at this point, after a couple of these interactions this year, I'm not sure if it's like a meme and like they're just parroting like memes they see on the internet because it's funny, or if like they're legitimately in like the Looksmaxxing subculture, like they're browsing looksmax.org, right? I'm not sure how deep it goes, right? Because like we saw this like with the mewing meme, like the mewing meme took off and all the kids were doing the fucking shit. It was, corny as fuck. Right, like that's like that was like Looksmaxxing terminology, but not anymore, right? And most people who are doing that, talking about it, like they're not doing it because they're browsing like looksmax.org or, are following clavicular and bone smashing, whatever the fuck. They're just doing it because it's a meme. So, I wasn't sure, but over the past week, right, I've started to realize, actually no, over the past like couple weeks, it's really gotten to a head where I'm starting to realize like these Sergey and Rodriguez are both like legitimately quite deep in the Looksmaxxing rabbit hole. I'm not saying like this is a bad thing. I just think it's crazy that like there are unironically people at my school who are probably fucking browsing looksmax.org, right? So when it really started to tip me off was I remember I was in class, this is like not too long ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, and Sergey turns to me. I don't remember something, but he said something about Godis. And if you don't know, Godis is, he's not like in the Looksmax community, but he's definitely like Looksmax adjacent. He eats like raw meat and raw milk and all those copes. He's a nut job. If you don't know, he tried to attack his ex-wife with acid. Well, he did. He paid somebody to do that. And he didn't pay, but he got somebody to attack his ex-wife with acid and burn her house down. He tried stabbing multiple people in his high school. He's been shown to have like, obviously mentally ill, has gone to, the psych ward multiple times probably. Grifts, thousands of dollars off his fans. Just overall a horrible person, but that's not the point. Like he's kind of like tangentially related to the Looksmax community. Sometimes you'll see people like Clavicular talk about him, right? And so when he mentioned Godis, that's really when I was like, okay, this kid's fucking serious. This kid's not. This isn't a meme, right? And basically, at that point, I wasn't really sure if I wasn't really sure if he was actually like watching Godis and eating raw meat. Like I was wondering, like, is this kid fucking going home and eating raw meat? Right? Like, you know what I mean? And Rodriguez would talk about it too. I kind of suspected they were like kind of being in jest, right? Because, I would literally see him in class on his computer. He'd be like, look, I'm watching Godis. And then, like, I look back over 5 minutes later and he's watching Clavicular. And he wasn't, like, he didn't turn to me and then say, I'm watching Clavicular. No. This motherfucker, like, was watching Clavicular. So, I really do think, like, at this point, I'm like, okay, these kids are on .org. And it was just, like, just weird because for the longest time, I just feel, like, very, like, it's a little nice to have somebody talk about it, even if it is a little superficial. But over the past couple days, I've actually had to, I've been at a table with Rodriguez and he's like, we've unironically been talking. And yeah, like these kids are serious. Like the other day, I remember I was asking Rodriguez to fucking PSL rate the girls in my school. So that's good. But yeah, like these guys are serious. Apparently, Rodriguez told me that Sergey doesn't actually eat raw meat, but he does drink raw milk, which I mean is better, right? Is better. I don't know who knows, maybe raw meat's a wonder drug. I just think like with how mentally ill Godis is and just how much of a fucking like complete psycho degenerate piece of shit he is, like I really wouldn't trust anything he says, right? But again, it's not just Godis, right? You have people like Face IQ and some other channels like, the raw primal meat diet is definitely taken off, obviously because, you have a bunch of lonely young men and they're looking for any answer that is not you're just in a tough time for dating and you don't, your looks don't meet the cutoff, right? Or that's like a big part of it, and that's a big reason why the red pill exists. But back to what I was talking about. So obviously, yeah, like, me and Rodriguez, we've been sitting at a table in class and talking. And I gotta be honest, it is kind of nice to be able to fuck around with somebody and talk about it. I back to what I was saying, I got him to rate like PSL rate the fucking people at our school. That shit was so corny, but the reason I did it was I was I wanted to know what he rate my one-itis. He said she had 2 PSL, but high appeal. So I don't know. If you look up 2 PSL, you'll get like people who are like actually deformed. She's not deformed. I don't know, but yeah. And like the final thing that happened, this shit was fucking. Oh, this shit was kind of corny. I'm sitting at lunch. These motherfuckers, both Rodriguez and Sergey, walk over to me. They're like, "Bro, who's higher PSL, bro? Oh my god, who's higher PSL? Is it me or is it him?" I'm like cringing my balls off. I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" So yeah, I said that Rodriguez had a higher PSL because height. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's kind of corny, but it is kind of nice to be able to, talk about the black pill at least a little bit with people. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just find it crazy how this shit's taken off. And I really do think it's gonna just keep getting bigger. It's going to replace the red pill. And, in some ways that's good, but again, it's gonna take on the scammy kind of lying aspects of the red pill and the cope aspects of the red pill. So yeah. And I definitely do think like you'll see like the Looksmaxxing community diverge. Like if I asked like Rodriguez or Sergey about like rehab room or DBDR, like they wouldn't know who rehab room or DBDR is or Drathan or any like actual like black pill content creator. Actually, I don't know. Maybe they do. I should probably start asking them and drop some hints, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, and even like besides them, like the other day, literally, I remember overhearing like a group of kids, like juniors, talking about like something something growth plates, something something delays the closure. Like I was like, what the fuck, dude? And then there's talking about the mewing thing. I remember there was this girl at their table, like one girl, and like just a horde of guys of males, one female and a horde of males who was just like, what is the mewing thing? Da, da, da. And I just remember overhearing it, and they like fucking told her. Crazy. But yeah, it's definitely like taken off, and it's definitely becoming mainstream. But I wouldn't say the black pill is becoming mainstream, you know. In some ways, yeah, but in some ways not. I remember, oh dude, this is hilarious. When I asked Rodriguez to rate the PSL, like I remember he like he used the word subhuman, like he's actually using it. But yeah, um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I just find it crazy, how much this stuff's taken off and how mainstream it's becoming for better and for worse. Not the people at my school are unironically talking about it now. And like there are people at my school who are like avid Looksmaxxers. Like Sergey's fucking drinking raw milk. Like, I wouldn't doubt if, the growth in, like, muscles and size and height, that he experienced. I wouldn't doubt if he went on, like, HGH or something, which is something, like, a lot of those Looksmaxxers do. That's something I think will definitely take off. I think that in the future, like, HGH for height will become, like, a much more... I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think it will definitely become more popular. I think it'll definitely become like a trend. I don't know if it's going to be like official doctors giving it out or whatever. Remember, I saw like a podcast clip of some dude talking about how literally like his son didn't have a like genetic problem, like he didn't have a growth hormone deficiency, but like all his friends, wanted to be taller because they were short. They didn't have growth hormone deficiency and they got on like HGH and shit and grew. But the dad wouldn't let his son do it and everything. So yeah. I mean, what do you guys think the chances Sergey won on HGH? Look, that dude grew 3 inches. Like he was like 5'6", he's like 5'10" now. 3 to 4 inches. And he got like kind of big. Like he's kind of like he was like he's way more muscular. I don't know. I feel like he went on HGH. Like I really do. Maybe it was the raw milk though. Maybe the raw milk helps you mog. I don't know. Untold secrets of raw milk. I don't know. That sounds like a cope, but yeah, that's pretty much it.